and do the work. And that's really what I'm trying to do. You know, hands that serve are holier than lips that pray. And we are a praying people. We will go to the church, to the mosque, to the stand, lay in front of, kneel in front of our aunts and do our thing and invoke the Holy Spirit. Very often we're driving past the pain and we see, you know, raising $20,000 for pastor's 20th anniversary. And the children around the corner in schools don't have whiteboards, computers, and all the things that they need in order to thrive. So I'm just saying, let's just wake up. And we know that this is a moment of awakening. You know, we just say, okay, if it's Donald Trump, the Holy Spirit, what do we say? This is God's what? Trump moment? Or God's trumping us? Whatever it is, we can use it to our advantage. Because when we look at our history, from the capturing of our people to this moment, we have been moving our lives forward, even when we thought that it was the end of the journey and we couldn't survive it. So I don't need to say any of that. I want to really show you the result of what we're doing. Essence Cares started as the National Care, or the National Cares Mentoring Movement started as Essence Cares right after Katrina, knowing that we couldn't go back into New Orleans and just have a big old party. We needed to have a party with a deeper purpose. And I thought naively that if I included all the hundreds of thousands of Black folk who gathered and asked them to go back to their respective cities and mentor children, that we could really change the trajectory. And I naively thought that would happen. It didn't happen, and people came to me and said, you have to create an infrastructure. I'm in the business world, know nothing about the nonprofit world. I don't know what you're talking about. But at any rate, it was my highest calling. And I said yes. And so we created Atlanta Cares. This is what we do. Now Atlanta Cares is in 58 cities across the country, including right here, Greater Newark Cares, all the way up to Seattle Cares, down to San Diego Cares, up to Boston, Boston Cares, down to South Florida Cares. Recovery is possible because when you're doing God's work, the work of life, the work of Allah, the work of the divinity, the Holy Spirit puts everything you need in your hands. If you put your ego behind you and be intentional, take care of yourself and do the work. And so I realized that it wasn't enough just to do what we were doing, recruiting mentors, training with them, and then deploying them, training them so they wouldn't look down on less able, stable Black children. We're trolling for Black mentors because when the call goes out for mentors, it's white women who are the first responders, and then white men, and then Black women, and then Black men, and we need mentors in reverse order. So that's what we do all across the country in 58 cities. Recognizing the deeper crisis, I said, I'm not leaving the recovery of our people, of our children, to people outside of our race. We need our allies, but we have to be in the leadership. And so what we did was we created culturally anchored group mentoring protocols that are now in 4 schools around the country, piloted, evidence-based, ready to be implemented here in Newark at the Shabazz High School, where we are going to create the replicable model in a web of schools. Wherever our children are losing ground, this is what we're bringing. It's called The Rising, elevating education, expectations, and self-esteem. And we're going to bring it right here into Newark. The mayor is all in, as is Surf, the superintendent, and then we're going to begin replicating across the country, creating a web of support. So we need you as mentors. And I'm just going to ask our brother back there, Brother Hopkins, if you could just play the video. I'm going to take my seat. This is the result. Okay, thank you. You're almost ready? You all ready? Former gang member, Tiante, you going to bring the screen down? Tiante Miller, south side of Chicago, a killing field. The school that Tiante was in, he'll tell you his story. Is there a problem? Okay, the school that he was in had 30 of the children were shot in one academic year. 30 young people in one academic year. The village is on fire. That's why we are doing this work. Tiante Miller. The lights, please, if we can.
Hello, everybody. My name is Deontay Miller. In 2014, I graduated from Harlan High School in Chicago. There were some people who probably thought I would never be able to say that. When I started high school, I was kind of a troublemaker. I didn't like school and couldn't focus on it whatsoever. I didn't have any money and my parents didn't have any either. So I focused on hustling and trying to make sure I had the basic needs to take care of myself. But I always knew I wanted to do more with my life. I didn't want to on the cask. At the same time I was feeling this way, a new program came into my school called Thriving. The program and the people who worked in it shift my energy. I learned that I want too much for myself to let bad energy corrupt me. Being around successful people changed my outlook on many things, including what it means to be a man. The people who worked in the Rising treated me like I was a leader. They wanted to see me succeed. My grades started to improve. Before the Rising, this was my report card. It has all F's on it. After the Rising, you can't see it, but it's all A's and B's. The staff in the Rising gave me interactive activities, such as speaking to other students who related and come from an environment like mine. And even though I didn't see myself as a speaker, I did it. And I want to tell you, that year, all my boys graduated. The Risings teach you not to just strengthen, but to strengthen others around you. And it connects you with mentors and people in the community who cares about your success. Reverend Moss of Trinity United Church of Christ was introduced to me through the Rising. Trinity helped me get into Coin College, where I'm studying HVAC. I've been a student there since January, and I love it. I've maintained a GPA of a 3.0, but I know I'm going to get to the 4. And I have an attendance rate of 95%, and when I'm done, I'll have my associate's degree. But after that, I'm getting my bachelor's degree. Take what I've learned, use it to build a real estate business where I buy houses, rehab, flip or rent. But that's my goal. My dream is to make sure other people who have the same life as I did have a chance. I want to be a role model for them. One day I'm going to be very successful, but I don't want to just make a lot of money to look at a bunch of people who don't have clothes on their back or can't even buy a meal. My dream is, and I know that I will. So tonight, I want to thank all of you for supporting the Rising, Susan, and everybody at National Cares. And last but never least, happy birthday, Mama Susan.
Okay, another round of applause for the work of Susan Taylor. the collective work, because she doesn't do it alone. She would never claim that. Another round of applause for this great, great, great warrior woman who's been among us. Now, quickly, next, we want to bring up someone else who's always been a strong supporter. And I say this with some emotion and some passion. Difficult work for IBW. We call it guts and faith work. Very often we go out here on guts, and we don't always know how it's going to come about or how we're going to get the resources to do these things. And there are some who've always been there, who we could count on to aid and assist us to move the process forward. And one of them is a very, very dynamic sister, a very dynamic woman, whom I had a chance to meet through Baba Leonard Dunston and Rosalind Prudhomme. I met her really in her Queen Sister through her capacity of the founder of the National CNO of Black Leadership Commission on AIDS. Incredible model, because we sometimes get amnesia about where we were on AIDS, particularly in the Black community, when we were all, it's about them whites, homosexuals, and this and that and so forth. Faith leaders were particularly, reading the Bible and finding ways why maybe we shouldn't be involved. But she spearheaded the effort, particularly working with Reverend Calvin Butts, if I recall correctly, and turning that whole thing around in terms of our sense of compassion for our people. And then she's done much more than that, because she's been out working for many, many years. So now she is also the Senior Vice President for Governmental Affairs for OraSure Technologies Incorporated, that deals with a range of medical concerns, including hepatitis and AIDS and a number of other kinds of issues. But more importantly, she's one of us. And when we called on her to get some help, she said, no, they're gonna have it now, No. Next thing you know, I'm getting an email saying I didn't throw down, the sponsorship is coming, because I didn't went up in here, and this is the way it ought to be, frankly. We pushed back on corporate America to get our people in there, not so they could be at the table, not to just to say, I'm here. It was to fight for our people. And this sister fights for our people. Would you please welcome Queen Sister Deborah Fraser Howes, Senior Vice President of Governmental Affairs for OraSure Technologies. All right, okay.
Thanks, Ron. Thank you, family. What a blessing to be here with you today. Ron told you some of who I am, but just want to share with you for a minute who I really am. I'm that young man that you saw standing there saying that he was going to get himself together. I'm the little girl who was in Harlem at the age of 17 with 2 children, trying to figure out how I was going to make it through. I wanted to sponsor this session on the family because I understand family. And I understand how family coming together makes you who you can become. And just as that young man has become who he is and calls my sister, my dear sister, Mama Susan, that's the kind of family we have to be. It does take a village. We didn't need Hillary Clinton to tell us that. We knew that, and we brought that here with us. Day before yesterday, I had the opportunity to go to the National African American History. I would suggest that every brother and sister in the universe go to that museum. It is a testament to us, people that you see here in that museum. And it says something about who we are. Most people started at the museum from the bottom, which is the slave ship. But a sister walked up to me who worked at the